Welcome to the Too Old for Bull show. I'm your host, Johnny. And yesterday was July 4th. It was the 250th birthday of the greatest country on the planet. And that afternoon, Trump signs the big, beautiful bill. Now, in the bill, there was some provisions to take care of the waste that's in our government. And if you recall, not too long ago, Elon Musk made a request. He sent an email out to some government workers, and he said he wanted them to list 5 significant or important things they did in the last week. He went further to say, if you can't do that, submit your resignation. Now, some people thought that was really terrible. I didn't. And that reminded me of an incident that happened over 60 years ago. I was going to a junior college studying engineering, and at night I took a production control class. And the instructor had just taken on a job as the vice president of engineering and chief engineer at a large engine manufacturer in Wisconsin. Now, one of the things he did, we were studying on efficiencies, and he told us about his first day on the job. He said what he did is he interviewed everybody that worked in his department, which consisted of engineers, draftsmen, technicians, etc. And he said, I asked them one simple question: what are you working on today? And if they couldn't give him a straight or good answer, he fired them on the spot. Now, some of the students in the class thought that was just terrible, but I didn't. Because prior to my going to college, I worked as a draftsman for a couple of years. And I recall an incident that happened when I was working in a large manufacturer of traveling cranes in Milwaukee. I was in a department where we made drawings of electrical motors. And myself and the fella sitting a couple desks in front of me were given the same job to do. It was a drawing of a shaft. Now, I finished my drawing in about 2.5 hours. And I happened to notice that it took him 2 days to finish the job. I did not work at a blistering pace, I just worked at a normal pace. And what this gentleman would do is he would draw a line on the paper, light up his pipe, smoke his pipe, draw another line, maybe shoot the breeze with another employee. And as I said, he took him 2 days to do what I did in 2.5 hours. I thought that was terrible. And the other sad thing is, there were several people in that department that did the same type of thing. And they thought they had the world's greatest job. I saw that and I said, I'm not going to do that the rest of my life. What a waste. And a couple months later, my National Guard unit was called up, and I had to leave for Fort Lewis for a whole year. The chief engineer, who was the supervisor, boss of the department, called me in his office, and he said, I've got your leave of absence set up. And I told him, I said, don't bother, I'm not coming back. And he said, you're not coming back, why? And I told him, I said, you got a lot of waste in this department. I gave him some examples, but I didn't give any names. And he looked at me and he said, you young punk, I'm glad you're not coming back. He was actually angry at me that I told him what was happening in his department. But I never forgot that. And many years later, I was asked to save a company that was going bankrupt. It was a plastics company in Burlington, Wisconsin. And I took over the presidency of the company, and in walking around, I noticed that was a classic example of what is called the boiled frog theory. A lot of people running around not knowing what they're doing, and they've been doing the wrong thing so long that they just couldn't help themselves. There was a lot of waste. There was people that didn't know their jobs, bad quality control, and they also did not know their costs, which was a big factor. I turned the company around, and it took me about a year, but I did turn it around. And turning that company around was like going aboard a sinking ship. Everybody's running around looking for life jackets and lifeboats, and all you'd have to do is stop, look around, and say, hey, plug up this hole, plug up that hole, and this one, and we won't sink. But anyways, it was quite an experience. The DOGE, or Department of Government Efficiency, is really a good thing, and that should have been done a long, long time ago. I applaud President Trump and Elon Musk for their efforts in this venture. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. I'll see you down the trail.